Hello, passionate Celtic FC fans. This is Celtic Central News, your exclusive source for Celtic updates. Before we kick off, we appreciate the incredible support. If you love Celtic, subscribe now, hit like, and let's build this community together. Now, on to the latest news. A warm welcome to new subscribers. Your support is crucial. Hail, hail! There's something eerily familiar about the sight of a Celtic dugout without Brendan Rodgers in it. It's not the first time his departure has sent shockwaves through the east end of Glasgow, but this time the circumstances are very different. Rodgers, once hailed as the savior of a club craving modernization and continental success, now exits Celtic Park with a sense of unfinished business and a cloud of disillusionment hanging over paradise. His second stint, which began with such optimism, has ended in bitter disappointment. When he returned to the club in 2023, many hoped he would rekindle the magic of his first spell. That glorious era of domestic dominance where trebles felt inevitable and Celtic Park buzzed with belief every weekend. But this time around, things were never quite the same. The league form stuttered, the European nights lost their sparkle, and increasingly the bond between Rodgers and the Celtic faithful began to fray. The final straw appears to have been a string of underwhelming performances that saw Celtic slip behind Rangers in the Premiership table, coupled with an early exit from European competition that felt all too familiar. It was not just the losses themselves, but the manner of them, lethargic, uninspired, and without the fire that once defined Rodgers' teams. For a support that had grown used to swashbuckling football and relentless intensity, the malaise on the pitch was impossible to ignore. Behind the scenes, whispers of discontent had grown louder over the past few months. Reports of strained relationships with senior players, a lack of clarity in tactical direction, and an apparent reluctance. From the board to back Rodgers fully in the transfer market, all contributed to a toxic mix that eventually became unsustainable. Sources close to the club suggest that Rodgers himself had grown increasingly frustrated with the structure around him, pointing to the absence of a proper sporting director and the reactive rather than proactive approach to recruitment. Rodgers' exit, confirmed in a short and measured club statement, marks the end of a chapter that never truly found its rhythm. Unlike his first departure in 2019, which saw him leave mid-season for Leicester City and sparked fury among the Celtic faithful, this time the sentiment is more complicated. There's disappointment, of course, but also a degree of resignation. Many supporters had already emotionally checked out, disillusioned by the style of play and the lack of progress in Europe. In many ways, this parting feels more like the slow death of a relationship than a sudden break. His legacy at Celtic remains significant. The invincible season of 2016-17, the back-to-back trebles, and the sheer level of dominance he instilled in Scottish football during his first spell remain untouched. Rodgers elevated standards, modernized the training ground, and brought a sense of professionalism that had long been missing. But football is a ruthless business, and memories fade quickly when present-day performances fall short of expectations. The truth is, Rodgers' return never lived up to its billing, and in the end, even the most loyal among the support had to admit that the project had run its course. What comes next for Celtic is, as ever, a subject of fevered debate. The timing of Rodgers' dismissal just weeks before the end of the season suggests the board wanted to act decisively ahead of a crucial summer rebuild. With Rangers showing signs of resurgence and clubs across Europe circling for Celtic's top talent, the urgency for strong leadership and clear direction has never been greater. The short list of potential replacements is already being discussed, with names both familiar and foreign being thrown into the mix. What's certain is that the next appointment must get it right. Celtic cannot afford another false dawn. In the meantime, interim stewardship will likely fall to one of Rodgers' lieutenants, though some within the fan base have already begun campaigning for a more radical change. There are calls for a return to the club's roots, for a manager who understands the culture, the pressure, and the passion that defines Celtic. Others argue for a more progressive option, someone who can finally crack the European conundrum and take the club to new heights on the continental stage. Before we proceed, subscribe to our channel and enable notifications to receive all exclusive news about Celtic FC. Don't miss any details about your favorite team. is extremely important for Celtic FC fans. Financially, Celtic are in a relatively stable position with a strong balance sheet and healthy cash reserves. But money alone will not solve the problems that now confront the club. This is a moment that demands vision, boldness, and unity. The fractured relationship between the board and the fans must be addressed. The squad needs refreshing, and most importantly, the next man in the dugout must be given the tools and autonomy to lead without compromise. Rodgers' departure also raises broader questions about the ambitions of the club. Is domestic success enough? Can Celtic realistically compete in Europe without major structural reform? And perhaps most pressingly, how does the club plan to reconnect with a support that has grown increasingly wary of empty promises and short-term fixes? The answers won't come overnight, but what's clear is that Celtic stands at a crossroads. The departure of Brendan Rodgers is not just the end of a managerial tenure, it's the end of an idea, one that promised continuity and progress but delivered stagnation and disillusionment. The board must now chart a new course, one that honors the club's proud traditions while embracing the demands of the modern game. For Rodgers, the future is uncertain. He remains a coach of considerable pedigree, and there will no doubt be interest from clubs in England and abroad. But his reputation has taken a hit, and he will need time to rebuild the aura that once made him one of the most sought-after managers in British football. As for Celtic, the healing process begins now. The club must look in the mirror, acknowledge the missteps of the past few seasons, and commit to a new vision, one built not just on nostalgia or past glories, but on a genuine belief in what the club can become. The fans deserve that much. And while Brendan Rodgers' time at Celtic may be over, the story of the club marches on. The Green Brigade will sing again, the lights will shine at paradise, and somewhere just beyond the horizon, a new chapter awaits. Hello, fan. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, as it means a lot to Celtic FC. Also, share your opinion about the news in the comments below. See you in the next video.